So Manchester United's approach so far in the transfer window has been quite aggressive, I would say, in terms of trying to throw money at already proven players in their prime that can come into the club and make an immediate impact. Matheus Cunha is a done deal, Brian Mbeumo is someone we are targeting, and also Victor Gyökeres feels like someone we are currently looking at. And I completely understand why. Manchester United need to improve immediately. The problem is Manchester United are not made of money. There's only so much you can spend, and eventually United are going to have to get a little bit clever with the recruitment and potentially sign some younger players that you guys may not have even heard of yet. If only there was a big tournament coming up with all of these players in one place. Now, for the purpose of today's video, we are going to ignore players that I've spoken about recently. So the likes of Djaoui and Javier Guerra, very good players who will shine at this tournament, but we're not going to talk about them today because we were speaking about them yesterday. So instead, let's look at someone different, like for example, Mosquera, the 20-year-old Spanish international who has spent the last season playing for Valencia, and not just playing like a bit part role for them. He started 37 games in the league this season. In terms of his position, his role, his style of play, he is a centre-back, and I would say he is a commanding centre-back. Yes, he's very young, but he is a leader with the way that he plays. He really commands, he plays with an aggressive approach, he takes responsibility at the back. I think he is someone, he is a presence that you want in your team. In terms of his play style, he's a really physically aggressive, dominant, front-footed player. So he's not someone who is going to kind of stand off and let opposition players dribble at him and force him back into a position. He's going to be aggressive. He loves a physical duel. Give him a physical striker to battle, and Mosquera will be right there. He loves these situations, getting physical, rough and tumble up against the striker. That's his game, and that's a really good sign for such a young player. And I wouldn't say that's because, you know, he's so physically strong that his technique is bad. I think his technique is good. I think his physicality is good. I think his size and his power are all really impressive, and it makes him quite a good player. The good thing also, though, is that he can go the other way, and that'll be really interesting to see in this tournament. His defending in wider positions, in the channels. I think he's actually quite strong here. I think he's quite quick, quite powerful. Again, his footwork is pretty impressive, and I think he's quite good in this position. In fact, he's actually played as a right back at times this season, and in general, he's played across the back four. I think this is a really good young defender. Like any modern day defender, though, he's also good on the ball. And I think the big thing for Mosquera is his composure. I'm not sure that he is the most expansive player. He's not the most incisive player. He's not a Lisandro Martinez with the way that he's going to fire the ball through the lines. That's not really his game. He's more of a ball carrier, someone who wants to stride forward out from the back and drive into midfield. But I think we are talking about here one of the best young centre-backs on the planet right now, and I think he's going to have a very, very good tournament that makes people kind of notice him and go, oh boy, he's good. Now, another young player that deserves the title of oh boy, he is good is Cisse, a 21-year-old French international who has been playing for Rennes this season. And in terms of under-21 midfielders in Europe, he ranks 4th for progressive passes per 90. That immediately makes him stand out as a player that technically could be very good. But actually, when you watch him, it's probably something a little bit different that you will immediately notice. It's his physicality. We're talking about a tall player here, 6'2". Who doesn't love a 6'2" midfielder? Long legs, which makes him really good in dueling situations, really good at hooking the ball away from the opposition. And when we talk about ground duels, I think it's important that we don't just talk about defending, but also picking the ball up and, you know, playing in offensive duels, looking to take people on and look after the ball in the middle of the park. Cisse does this very well. So his defensive duels, 1v1s, his percentages are very good, but also his take-on situations as well. His percentages are very good. I think he's a good defender. He perhaps lacks a little bit of tenacity in his game just at this moment in time, but hopefully he can add that. But from a defensive point of view, he is athletic, he covers the ground well, he sort of is powerful, whilst also gliding across the pitch, almost like a typical French midfielder of the past few seasons. Very good in that aspect. He also, though, is rather impressive on the ball, as we've already said. 4th for progressive passes per 90 amongst under-21 midfielders in Europe. That's not bad. Now, to be honest, most of this has come in the past 6 months. He's been a bit of a late bloomer. He's not someone who broke through at 17 years old and has stayed in the first team. This is more of someone who's performed recently, so he may not even be in the starting team for France at this tournament, but I would imagine he'll get minutes, and when you see him play, something to watch out for is the long-range passing. This man can play a switch off both feet, which is important. Two-footed ball striking is always key in midfield, and he can do exactly that. He can pick the ball up in these situations, he can switch it to the far side. I think Cisse is another one who is going to if given the opportunity, really make people stand up at this tournament. Now, the next player that we're going to talk about is probably someone that you guys are a bit more familiar with, certainly in terms of hearing his name before. It's Hayden Hackney, the 22-year-old English midfielder currently playing for Middlesbrough. And the reason why you've probably heard of him is, one, because everyone in England has been linked with a move for him, but also because in terms of the stats, he ranks top in pretty much everything that you would want. He has been a dominant midfielder in the Championship. He is going to get a move very soon because he is too good for that level. But why is he too good? What is it he's good at? Well, we're going to call him a passy boy. What does a passy boy mean? It means he gets the ball when he passes it. He gets the ball again and he passes it. This is a man who wants to play short football, moving the ball very quickly. His weight of pass, his vision, his pass selection, which I think is important for a young player, all very, very good. We often see young players who are more than capable of playing a pass, but what they don't do enough is actually pick the right pass, pick the right option. I don't think in the brief footage that I've seen, Hackney has that problem. I really like his pass selection. I like his weight of pass, the understanding of his teammates as well. So if his teammate is left-footed, he's going to give them a pass that they can control with their left foot. If they're right-footed, it's going to be a pass they can control with their right foot. And I think that technical empathy and understanding is really, really important and something that realistically for Manchester United could be quite useful. So I think that's why he's probably on the radar. He's also, though, good at progressing the ball via the carry as well. Now, I wouldn't describe him as a dribbling midfielder. He's not, again, a Frenkie de Jong. Someone who's going to pick the ball up, kind of drop the shoulder and go past people in midfield. Not really his game. He's more of sort of a elegant, gliding carrier. So he's not necessarily going to beat a man in terms of trickery. But if there is a bit of open space, he just has this ability to sort of attack that space and go through it. And it's almost a little bit confusing to watch sometimes because he's not the most powerful guy in the world, but he just makes it look quite easy, quite effortless as he glides forward. And again, that's something that United could use in midfield. And I think for England this summer, he's going to be the key player. With Adam Wharton not in the squad, Hackney is going to be the general in midfield that has to get things ticking. He has to orchestrate the moves. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching more of him because as of yet, I haven't seen enough. I haven't watched enough footage. So this is going to be a brilliant time for me, for you, and for United to watch him. Another player that I'm really looking forward to watching this summer is Roger Fernandes. Just 19 years old, he will represent Portugal this summer, and he currently plays his club football for Braga. And actually, he was Braga's youngest ever goal scorer when he was just 15 years old, and that's straight away a good sign when a player bursts onto the scene so young. What it means, though, is that we're talking about a 19-year-old here who actually has a bit of experience, a bit of maturity with the way that he plays. And, that's very evident on the pitch. You can tell that he's been about for a little while now with the way that he carries himself, with his maturity, with his mentality, with his decisions, again, with his pass selection in the final third, things like that, all very good. But if you want to talk about something a bit more exciting, previously we were talking about a passy boy. This is a dribbly boy. This is someone who picks the ball up and looks to go at people. This is a winger. I think if Manchester United were to look at him, it would probably be for more of a wing-back position. But I think this summer for Portugal, he will either play on the right wing or the left wing. There is competition from Giovanni Quenda. But what he will look to do is be expressive. He will look to take people on. And what's so great about him is he may be left-footed, but that doesn't mean he can only dribble onto his left foot. He can go both ways, and that's going to be a nightmare for fullbacks this summer because Fernandes is more than happy to stand you up, slow you right down, and then, like I said, he's got that ability to burst inside the pitch onto his stronger left foot, but he can also go the other way. He can go onto his right foot, and the problem for the opposition defenders is no matter which way you send him, his delivery, again, his pass selection into the final third is really good for such a young player. His crosses into the box, the whip that he gets on them is really impressive. A lot of youngsters, they'll put a ball into the box and it's a bit lofted or, it's a bit floaty, it's easy to cut out. Fernandes has a real whip with the way that he puts the ball into the box, and that's something that will be really exciting this summer, and like I said, it will really test defences. And if we're talking about Manchester United, having that winger profile in the squad, perhaps as a bench option, who can be an attacking player from this wing-back position, is a potentially exciting prospect. The only questions over him at the moment really are how it's going to transmit and transfer into more difficult football. The Portuguese league isn't the most difficult league in the world, as we've seen. If Roger Fernandes was to get a move to Manchester United, how would he settle in? How long would it take to make the adjustment physically, as much as anything, to the new league? We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of the technical profile, being an aggressive player, a player that wants to dribble, but also is selfless in the final third and makes good decisions, that's a great profile. The final player on this list is a German striker going by the name of Woltemade. He currently plays his football for Stuttgart in Germany, and the reason we're going to talk about him today is because he scored 17 goals last season at senior level football. Now, he is the oldest player on the list at 23 years old, but 17 goals in a season is not something that you can turn away from. That's a very, very impressive record. He stands at 6'6" tall. It's an insane physical profile we've got here, but he's probably not the player you're expecting. He's tall, he's very physical, but he's not a target man. He's a linking player. He's a facilitator. Someone who wants to come deep. He wants to get involved in the link-up play. He wants to combine with people. Almost a bit like Joshua Zirkzee, if you like, in terms of the profile. He wants to drop into these deeper positions and bring other people into the game. And not only with simple layoffs, passing the ball backwards into midfielders, but also actually turning and looking to play forward, finding through balls to on-rushing teammates. He's a really selfless player, which, again, is great for a youngster, but also carrying as well, dribbling. This is someone who likes to express himself, so he can be selfless in deep positions and link and bring other people into the game, but also pick the ball up and actually decide, I'm going to drive at the opposition. I'm going to use the runners around me to create a little bit of space, and then I'm going to attack that space. I'm going to drive into it. I'm going to commit players, but in quite an elegant fashion. It's quite a unique profile we're talking about here, because you don't normally get that from someone that is 6'6". So it's really intriguing, and that's why he is on my list of players to watch this summer. He is a little bit older than the others, like I've said, so perhaps, again, a bit of a late bloomer. He's 23 years old. But I think he's a unique profile, which makes him very, very interesting to watch. And whilst he does do all this linking work, all this dropping deep, he has also been a goal threat in the final third. Like we've said already, 17 goals. But what's most impressive is the variety of goals. He is finding different corners. This isn't a player who has a bias towards one side. Look where he's putting the ball. There is a wide variety of finishes here, which is quite an exciting prospect for such a young player. A lot of youngsters have a go-to trait. That might be the bottom corner, it might be the top corner, whatever. But Woltemade can finish into different areas, and that's really, really exciting. So I'm not sure that he's a Manchester United target as such, because I think we may prioritise a more experienced striker, but I still think he's very interesting to watch this summer, and would probably be relatively cheap. I don't think he would demand a high fee, so I think he's another interesting player that you and United should be watching. So that's 5 young players that will be playing at Euro Under-21 this summer that you guys should be watching, and also Manchester United should be watching. Now, I'm very aware of the fact that we cannot go sign 5 Under-23 players. It's not possible because for squad building, it doesn't work. You need experience, and we've seen that already from United this window with the likes of Cunha, again, the Mbuemo links to Gyökeres links. However, like I said right at the start, sometimes you've got to be clever. You've got to find a youngster that not everyone is watching already. You've got to find a player that may not be a guaranteed starter right now, but that can come into the team, be a squad player, a bench player, learn from those around him, and then in 2 years, you could have yourself a world-class talent. All 5 of these sort of fit the bill for that. They have a lot of potential, so yeah, that's why I wanted to point them out, because it's something a little bit different. I don't think enough people will be talking about this particular tournament this summer, but they should be. They should be, and I will be, over on the second channel, AJ Talks Tactics. So make sure you go and subscribe. The link will be in the description. But apart from that, I believe we are finished for today's video. I'm very excited for the tournament. Can't wait for it to get started. It actually starts tonight. So I'll see you on the second channel with content for that. But apart from that, like I said, we're finished for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.